Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday, July 13th. It is 79 degrees. The humidity is off the chain. That means that it is summer. So I'm not complaining. I am not complaining. There are these little water fountains all over the city there for you provided. Um, the list is in classroom on a prior lesson. Check those out if you and the kiddies need a place to go today. Um, if you can make your way to the lake, the water is warming up as we speak. I'm sure that would be a wonderful experience today. I know we're supposed to have some thunderstorms possible, but I think they're further south. So get in that water while you can. Stay cool, drink water, and drink water. So, something that I wanted to touch on today, you know me in housekeeping. So, I wanted you to take a peek. Really? You don't want to work for me? Yeah, I don't want to work for me. Try this again. Try one more time. Be nice. There we go. Okay. So, I wanted to make sure that you're aware of this. You may have gotten a notice from us. Not really sure, but I want to make sure I share it with you. This is a message from our Senator Jerry Cooney, who is also a part of the Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian Legislative Caucus. So he is working to legalize recreational marijuana for adults in New York. And now, many past marijuana convictions can be expunged, meaning that if you have a marijuana conviction on your record, you may be eligible to have it removed. What do I need to do? You need to sign up to meet one on one this Saturday, July 17th, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon at the Teleska Center for Justice, which is not far from here. It's at 1 Main Street. So his office is partnering with several agencies, Just Cause, Law New York, and local volunteer lawyers to support those who have past convictions, and that particularly this may have prevented you from getting certain types of employment. So keep in mind, as marijuana is going to be legalized, why should people be criminalized for having convictions in the past? So if you're interested in these one on one sessions, it is this Saturday from 10 to noon at the Center for Justice on 1 Main Street. And I've also included the registration link. So, how do I get to this link? You're going to copy, paste, and see right here where it says go to. You hit go to. I want to show you how that works. And there I am. This is where you'll register your name, your phone number, your address, and hit submit. So anything that can be a benefit to us, I always want to make sure that we are aware of it. Okay, so now we're going to go on to our lesson. And what I'm going to do, and I think it's helpful, is to take a moment and review the homework from the past lesson. Before we move on to compound complex, let's take a look at this worksheet. So, when we have simple sentences, it's a complete thought, right? With a subject and a verb. When we have a complex sentence, we're going to have a dependent and an independent clause with a subordinating clause. And I'm going to tell you what these are: subordinating conjunction, which are words such as than, whether, as soon as, until, though, now that, whom, whomever, because, a reason, a condition, if, only if, a place, where or wherever, relative adjectives, that, whatever, which, whichever, and then a manner, as though, as if, how. So keep these in mind. When we have a complex, Now, when we have a compound sentence, we have two independent variables together, meaning they could actually stand alone as complete sentences. Um, when we have a complex sentence, we have a dependent variable. Wait a minute, I'm trying to get to compound. I'm sorry. When we have a compound sentence, we have two independent variables that can stand alone, but they are joined by, let me go back, they are joined by our fanboy conjunctions. Remember what we call fanboy? These are the words for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. So let's take a peek at the homework we had previously, and I'm just going to touch on a few examples. Just want to make sure this is making sense to us. So if we look at the first sentence, what an adventure we had last Friday after school. It's a complete thought. So that is a simple sentence, right? Okay, second sentence, it all started when we were on our way to the store. That's a complete thought. So that's a simple sentence as well. Let's take a look at number 3. As we were driving, we noticed the sky getting darker. So let's take a look. As we are driving cannot stand alone, right? So that is dependent. It depends on the next clause to make sense. So as we were driving is, ooh, don't want to make it look like that. Let's give it a color we can see. So as we were driving is our dependent variable, and we noticed the sky getting darker can actually stand alone. So let's make that in blue, okay? So there we go. Independent, dependent. So when we have an independent and a dependent variable with the subordinating clause as, I'm actually going to change her to dark green. Okay, so independent, dependent gives us a complex sentence. I want to do the next one. Let's do a compound. Here we go. Soon it was raining. We had to run into the store as quickly as possible. Soon it was raining could actually stand alone, right? That's a dependent. And we had to go into the store as soon as possible. So we have two independent. That gives us a compound sentence because it's there twice. It's compounded. The idea is there twice. Okay. So let's put that in blue too. So that is a compound sentence. And the word soon, that tells us about time, is a, there we go, subordinating conjunction. So it's a word that helps you to put the two thoughts together. So soon it was raining, and what happened? We had to run into the store as quickly as possible. Let me do one more. Number 5. My brother ran too slowly, and he got soaking wet. So my brother ran too slowly can actually stand alone, correct? And he got soaking wet. And there's our fanboy, the word and. There's our conjunction. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? There we go. So what did we say that was? It is a compound sentence. You have two phrases, clauses that can stand on their own. So you have the key. What I want you to do is to work on those and let me know how you feel about that, okay? If you didn't understand it, try it again and let's see how we do. So now moving on to our compound complex sentence. Here we go. When you have a compound complex sentence, see if we can make this boy a little bigger. And again, if this is confusing to you, let me know and we can work on it individually. So here we go with the compound complex sentence. Before they went on vacation, okay, they went on vacation. Before they went on vacation, I'm sitting here waiting for you to finish the thought. So that is a dependent part of the sentence. Maria found a dog sitter, okay, and Max bought plane tickets. So Maria found a dog sitter can stand alone, but it is joined by, again, the fanboy conjunction. So she found a sitter, that can be a complete sentence. Max bought plane tickets, that can be a complete sentence because we have a subject and a verb. Subject here is Max, and what did he do? He bought plane tickets. Here, this stands alone. Maria did what? Found a dog sitter. But before they went on vacation, that is dependent. So when we have a compound, complex sentence, we have a dependent part of the sentence or clause joined by one or more. Here we have two independent clauses. Okay, so dependent plus at least two, one or more. Okay, well, one plus. So you could add another thing. Before they went on vacation, Maria found a dog sitter, and Max bought plane tickets, and let's see what else. And they installed a security camera in their house or something, right? So that's what we would do with that. Now, let's take a look at our compound complex worksheet. Oh, this was so many spaces in there. I'm going to fix that. So our worksheet is compound complex sentences here. Stephen, feeling terrible for what he had done, fell on his knees and cried. Stephen, feeling terrible for what he had done, fell on his knees and cried. That's a lot, isn't it? So these are the longest and most involved sentences, and they involved a compound sentence with a complex sentence. So before you start writing them, you need to understand the two types of clauses. So here's one. Erin loves her brother. That's an independent clause. It can stand alone. The dog ran off. I am tall. So now let's look at dependent clauses. They're not complete sentences, but they do have a verb and a noun and a verb. However, it's not complete. When I come home leaves you hanging. If you sell the most cookies, because she is so smart, each of those begins with a relative pronoun. Okay. And when that acts on a relative pronoun, acts on the pronoun, I, you, she, it turns an independent clause and into another that must be attached to another independent clause. It can't stand alone. You need more information to complete the thought. So compound sentences, we're doing a quick review, are joined by two independent clauses. Erin loves her brother and he loves her too. The dog ran off, but I didn't care. I am tall, yet she is short. Those are our coordinating conjunctions. Remember, for and nor, but, fanboy, or, yet. So those are coordinating conjunctions, are fanboys. So then when you get to a complex sentence, you have a dependent clause and an independent clause. And the dependent clause can come at the beginning or the end, such as, when I come home, I will eat dinner. Or, if you sell the most cookies, you will win the prize. If you sell the most cookies is dependent. When I come home is dependent. The college gave her a scholarship because she is so smart. So here we go with because she is so smart. That could not stand alone by itself. So what happens when you put a dependent clause at the beginning of a sentence? You have to put a comma after it. When it's at the end of the sentence, it does not have to have a comma. When I come home, oh, that's a you're hanging there. So you got to have a comma to indicate that there's a pause in the thought. Okay. If you sell the most cookies, what will happen? You will win the prize. So there's a pause in the thought. That's what the comma indicates. So here we go, compound complex. You're going to bring both sentences together. You're going to have at least two independent clauses, like a compound sentence, and one dependent clause, like a complex sentence. Let's look. Erin loves her brother, and he loves her too because she pays the bills. Erin loves her brother could stand alone, right? He loves her too. That could stand alone because she pays the bills. So there's our and, right? Joining them and making them into a compound sentence. And then you have because she pays the bills. That's what makes it complex. The dog ran off when I chased him, but I didn't care. The dog ran off. Okay. And then when I chased him, but I didn't care. I didn't care. Okay. So that's a compound complex. Dependent clause can be at the middle, the beginning, or the end. No matter where it's placed, it follows the punctuation rules for both compound sentences and complex sentences. And that means you need to put a comma before the coordinating conjunction, the fanboy, and perhaps another comma after the dependent clause if it's at the beginning of the sentence. Let's look at these examples. This is a little tricky, right? When I went to the store, my parents wanted me to pick up some milk. Okay, that could be a sentence all by itself. But I didn't have enough money. So notice we have the subordinating clause. When I went to the store, which tells me that's dependent. My parents wanted me to pick up some milk. That's independent, right? But coordinating, I didn't have enough money. So that's a compound complex because we've got when I went to the store, my parents wanted me to pick up some milk. That's a compound sentence. But what makes it complex is the dependent and independent. I didn't have enough money. That's a simple sentence, right? When I went to the store, dependent and independent. So there you go. Whew. What it does is give you flexibility in your writing, helps you to avoid run-on sentences where you have no punctuation, no break in your thoughts, and it's ends up being a jumble to read. It doesn't make your thoughts clear. So really quick, this was a long one. Here's homework. We're going to go through that on Thursday. So that's all for right now. See you all later.